For every up-and-coming comic Saturday Night Live turns into a Hollywood icon, there are dozens of equally talented men and women who just don't become household names. You may not have known that these SNL stars passed away, but you'll definitely remember the way they made you crack up every weekend. Charles Rocket. Under other circumstances, Charles Rocket could have been a huge SNL star, but he joined the cast for the 1980 season, the one without Lorne Michaels, which successor Gene Domanian infamously mismanaged.
This game tomorrow means a lot to all of us, not because of the superb match of talent we're going to see, but because each one of us personally has bet an awful lot of money on it.
Rocket provided some of that season's few notable moments, such as his amusing The Rocket Report, a series of man-on-the-street segments.
They have lots of stereo equipment. They must be a gang of thieves, I guess. Are you thieves then?
Oh, and he also said the F word live on the air. The February 21st, 1981 episode of SNL was hosted by Dallas star Charlene Tilton, and the show parodied her show's huge Who Shot JR plotline by having an unknown gunman take a shot at Rocket. At the end of the episode, during the part where the cast waves goodnight from the stage, Tilton asked Rocket how he felt to be shot. He replied, "Aw man, it's the first time I've ever been shot in my life. I'd like to know who did it." Dropping the F-bomb on network TV was a huge violation of FCC rules. Rocket quickly lost his job. He went on to a decent career specializing in playing jerks, cads, and villains in comedies. Sadly, the 56-year-old's body was found near his Connecticut home in 2005. The medical examiner's office ruled his death a suicide. Tony Rosato. When Dick Ebersol took the reins on SNL in 1981, he built the cast up from scratch, starting with members of SNL's competition and Canadian counterpart, Second City Television, or SCTV. While Ebersol couldn't persuade Catherine O'Hara to switch teams, he did land Robin Duke and Tony Rosato. Unfortunately, Rosato didn't get much screen time. He was too stylistically similar to one of the show's big stars, Joe Piscopo. While Rosato managed to spawn a few memorable skits during his run, he was fired at the end of the 1981-82 season. He worked steadily on Canadian TV, but then mental illness took a tragic toll. In 2005, Rosato called police to report that imposters had replaced his wife and baby. The cops didn't believe him, of course, and instead arrested Rosato on charges of criminal harassment, for which the comedian spent 4 years in custody, 2 in maximum security prison and 2 in a psychiatric facility. About a decade after his release and rehabilitation, Rosato passed away from a heart attack in January 2017. He was 62. Jan Hooks. In the late 80s and early 90s, SNL cast members called Phil Hartman the Glue because he was a versatile utility player who kept the show together and made everything better. But who was his frequent and most memorable scene partner? The equally multifaceted Jan Hooks. The Georgia-born actress was a scene stealer and delivered pointed and fierce celebrity impressions, such as a laser-focused Hillary Clinton, a smarmy Diane Sawyer, and a phony Tammy Faye Baker, opposite Hartman's televangelist Jim Baker.
So, I asked my doctor what to do, and he recommended this. Balls off.
Hi, honey. I got off work early, so I came straight home and fixed dinner.
Hooks left SNL for primetime in 1991, joining the cast of CBS's hit Designing Women before taking a series of bit parts way too small for someone of her comic stature. But then again, who else but Hooks could have pulled off Jenna's sleazy mother on 30 Rock? In 2014, 57-year-old Hooks died from throat cancer.
We learned late today Jan Hooks has died. She was a veteran cast member of Saturday Night Live, best known for her half of the Sweeney Sisters, the unctuous lounge duo.
Shortly after her death, SNL paid tribute with the re-airing of the poignant 1988 short film Love is a Dream, which starred Hooks and Hartman. George Coe. Among Saturday Night Live's original cast of young, relatively unknown performers was a showbiz veteran named George Coe. He'd performed in Broadway shows and on TV, and earned an Academy Award nomination for his 1968 short film, The Dove. Then 46 and the oldest cast member on the show by far, Coe was credited by name on only the first episode of SNL in 1975, but appeared in supporting roles throughout that inaugural season. After Coe left the series, he continued to rack up credits and is probably best known to modern audiences as the voice of Put Upon Butler Woodhouse on Archer. He died at age 85 in 2015. Danitra Vance. Vance was part of the cast of SNL for just the 1985 to 1986 season, but she's in the show's history books for a few reasons. She was the first African-American woman to be a full-time or repertory cast member, as well as the first lesbian cast member. She also struggled with dyslexia. Writer-producer cast member Al Franken said in Live from New York, the complete uncensored history of Saturday Night, that Vance's learning disability manifested in an inability to read cue cards during live broadcasts. However, Vance had a background in theater and performance art, which gave her the tools to ad-lib her way through sketches. A lot of Vance's work on SNL was solo, theaterish stuff, like her portrayal of teenage mother Cabrini Green Harlem Watts Jackson and Shakespeare in the Slums.
I'm up here on my back porch, and he down here in the alleyway looking up in my window. Now, he not looking in my window because he a freak. He looking in my window because he liked me a lot.
Just a few years after her brief stint on SNL, Vance was diagnosed with breast cancer. Despite a mastectomy, Vance passed away on August 21, 1994. Michael O'Donoghue. SNL's occasional bursts of edgy darkness are the legacy of its first head writer and occasional performer, Michael O'Donoghue. O'Donoghue appeared in the very first sketch on the very first episode of SNL, portraying an English teacher who makes his student, played by John Belushi, repeat nonsensical phrases.
Repeat after me. I would like to feed your fingertips to the Wolverines.
While he was best known for playing Mr. Mike, a vaguely unsettling figure who read inappropriate children's stories like The Little Train That Died, he also performed impressions of what cheesy celebrities like Tony Orlando would sound like if they shoved needles into their eyes. O'Donoghue was an incredibly influential voice in comedy from his time on SNL, but he didn't stop when he left the show. He wrote and directed the cult classic Mr. Mike's Mondo Video, and he even lent his talents to Scrooged, co-writing it with his frequent collaborator, Mitch Glazer. In 1994, O'Donoghue died of a cerebral hemorrhage at age 54.